Today we're going to talk about 10 conspiracies that turned out to be true. You're watching Making Sense with Robbie. Let's get started. We're always told that conspiracy theories aren't real, that they're just things that people believe in for no reason, with no evidence. We're told sometimes it's just a matter of people seeing patterns that don't exist. But today I want to talk about 10 conspiracies that turned out to be true. The first one is COINTELPRO. And this was a program during the 50s to the 70s. It was done by the FBI, and the goal of it was to infiltrate, discredit, disrupt, or influence political and social organizations. And obviously these were sort of groups that were going against the status quo, that were doing things that were in the interest of the people who were part of those groups and opposed to the government. But this program was only revealed after a group of activists broke into FBI building and stole some documents, and then they revealed that this program was happening. So this was a real program that was trying to discredit social organizations, or that was trying to discredit political figures like Martin Luther King. The second conspiracy is Operation Northwoods. This was a proposed false flag attack against the Cuban government, and the purpose was to attack citizens and then blame it on Cuba, and then the goal was to use that to sort of justify action or attacking Cuba. Program never went through because JFK, he vetoed it. The third one I want to talk about today is the Gulf of Tonkin incident. This was with the USS Maddox. Basically, there was two attacks that were claimed. There was one attack that actually happened, and then there was a second attack that never happened at all. And they were used to justify the Vietnam War. But what came out in 2005 was that the second attack never even happened. It was completely fabricated and made up, but it was used to justify and get into a war. The fourth one I want to talk about is Operation Mockingbird. This was a large-scale operation run by the CIA, and it was a propaganda program where they recruited leading journalists, have them spread certain messages and stories. The purpose of it was to influence reporting. A lot of this might have been about fighting sort of a psychological war on communism. And while the word or the name Operation Mockingbird was never really used, it does seem that there was a pretty decent evidence supporting the fact that it happened. The fifth one I want to talk about is MKUltra. And this was a program that did psychological experiments on people using LSD and torture and brainwashing. And the aim was mind control, manipulation of people, and information gathering. Maybe the outcome of it would be some advanced interrogation methods that might be used today. But this was a real program, and I know that even in Canada that some of it was being done at McGill University, which is a pretty famous university in Canada. The sixth one I want to talk about is Operation Paperclip, and this one took place after World War II. Basically, a whole bunch of these Nazi scientists were kind of granted immunity from their maybe crimes against humanity, and they got to go to America and continue to be scientists for the American government, and the history of what they were involved in and what they did just kind of disappeared. Number 7 is the Dalai Lama. He worked for the CIA, and this was part of a program to continue the idea of Tibetan independence, and it had some anti-China sentiment to it. It seems like the way that it came about wasn't necessarily directly involved, but the CIA was giving money to the Dalai Lama, and it was about keeping Tibet as an independent country. The eighth one I want to talk about is the Naira Testimony. I probably said that wrong. And this was some testimony that was used to justify the Gulf War. And this girl said that she was from Kuwait and that she saw these babies being killed in a hospital. And it turned out that she was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador to America. And the story that she was telling was completely false. But the whole thing was that this testimony was highly influential in helping or enabling the U.S. to take action or be involved in the Gulf War. The ninth one is Operation Popeye. And Operation Popeye was a U.S. Air Force program that used weather manipulation to extend the monsoon season in Vietnam. And this was done to keep the ground wet and prevent the maintenance of supply chains. So basically, it weakened the Vietnam army, and it made it easier for the Americans. This was denied at the time. It was said that weather manipulation wasn't possible, that they couldn't control the weather, that they couldn't do anything about it. And even to this day, a lot of people don't think that weather manipulation is real. They don't even know that it's a possibility, but it is a real thing. You can look it up. And the 10th conspiracy that turned out to be real is the Snowden and the Prism release. And this was basically about a large-scale data collection, metadata collection operation that was run by the NSA, and it was basically collecting all this information on citizens, on their internet activity, what they were doing with their phones. And this is like a large-scale program that is probably still going on to this day. Maybe it's a bit more advanced than it was back then, but this was like a conspiracy. I remember telling my parents or my friends or just saying, like, everything you say online is tracked and kept track of, and they said that was crazy, that makes no sense. And then here it comes out many years later that this was actually a program that was going on. So that's 10 different conspiracies that turned out to be true. Do you know any other ones that I missed, or some interesting ones that would be worth looking at? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this entertaining or informative, click that like button. If you are curious about learning how to think about things but you don't want to be told what to think about them, and click that subscribe button. You've been watching Making Sense with Robbie. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk next time. Goodbye.